Hey everyone, this is Riley coming to you from my mom's house on July 12th, 2012. As of today, I am 7 weeks on T, so super excited about that. Yay me. The reasons why I haven't updated, because it goes directly from my intro to my 7 week update, and the reason why, there are a few reasons why. I've been crazy busy lately, and where I live, the summers are kind of ridiculously ridiculous in terms of the heat, and where I'm living, it's just insane. I can't bring myself to make a video, pretty much crawl out of bed to make a video when it's like crazy hot in my room, and I don't want to put on clothes, and I know you guys don't want to see me naked, so it works out for everyone, but that's why there's this big gap. The changes that I've noticed in the order that I've noticed them, within the first couple weeks being on T, the very first thing I noticed was the sweat. Oh my gosh, the sweating totally, like, I've never sweat that much in my life, and I knew right away what it was, and almost immediately following that, my sweat started, or my BO started changing, which is to be expected. It's just interesting because growing up, even like prior to T, I never really sweat very much. I never really smelled very bad, and now I'm just super aware of it all the time, especially in the summer. And as a result of the sweating, I've been noticing an increase in my acne, so primarily on my back and on my arms. But I think that my chest. I think the main reason for that is sweating underneath my binder all day, and that's probably the main contributor. I wouldn't necessarily attribute it to T yet, though I'm sure that that might come soon. And then after those things changed, I started noticing my voice dropping a little bit in the mornings, which was awesome. I was totally stoked about that, and I was just like, I was living for the mornings and not wanting it to end, and like not being able to wait until the day when it just would stop returning back to how it had been before, like prior to the morning. But so like in the mornings, wake up, get in my car, and I just start singing because I love to sing. I am a vocalist, and that's like how I've been tracking my vocal changes, is just every single day I'm singing, and it seems like almost every day I'm noticing something different, whether it be like a note that I didn't know I could hit, or a note that I can no longer hit, or songs that I hadn't been able to sing before that I can now sing, which is awesome. Aside from the vocal changes, the next change I noticed was my weight gain, which was really interesting to me because I was like, okay, I know I'm going to be getting the appetite, and I'm going to be eating everything in sight, and then I'm going to gain weight. But what ended up happening was I didn't change my eating habits, I didn't change my exercise habits, I just gained 10 pounds. And I was like, okay, well, that works too. I can notice it, and I feel like the rest of the world can notice it, but in reality, it's probably just like mostly in my head, and I don't really mind as much as I thought I would. And then after that, I didn't really notice anything for a little while. I noticed that my libido didn't really start to increase very much. My appetite wasn't increasing very much. And just a few days ago, I noticed that I have some chin hairs, which is weird because I'm only like 6 weeks, but I'm also a quarter Spanish. So I already have, you can't really see it very well in the videos, but I have like a little tiny baby stash going on that I had before T. And I would get like one or two hairs on my chin that I used to just like pluck them out because there's like one or two hairs. It's kind of, I don't really like it. I would have liked it if there were more. But now there, like, I've noticed that there are a few there, and there are some that are just like peach fuzz like, but longer, and some that there are a few more that are dark than were before. So like, I wasn't expecting that to happen so soon, but it's happening, so that's pretty exciting. I've also, within the past week or so, started noticing more downstairs growth. Because totally need 3 quotes for that, right? Just a little bit, just like noticeable to me because I'm very familiar with myself in that way, and I've just noticed that it's definitely changing. And let's see, there's been 7 weeks. I apologize for this whole 7 week thing. There's a lot to tell you all. So my irritability has definitely increased. I find myself wanting to punch things and hit things and break things, but that's not me. So usually what I just wind up doing is like going into the other room and just crying to let it out, because luckily tea hasn't affected my my tear ducts yet. So that's awesome that like I can still do that, because I'm not the type of person to lash out when I'm angry. So it's nice to know that I can still cry, at least for now. My libido has increased like crazy, which is expected, and has been an interesting ride. Interesting ride. I never used to think about sex as often as I do. The thing I haven't noticed that everyone has been telling me is going to happen and hasn't happened yet, and it's usually one of what I've heard is one of the sooner things to happen, is a shift in appetite. I am not as hungry as a lot of people like have told me that I should be, which I am actually pretty grateful for, because I've already gained like 10 pounds without changing anything at all. Yay, puberty. But the appetite thing just hasn't really changed, so that's interesting, and I'm waiting to see if that's going to happen, because it might not, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, and I'll probably be grateful that it doesn't, because I don't really want to be eating everything, but what happens happens. In terms of how I feel about all this, now that I've like laid that all out there, so to give those updates, how I feel about it, I am feeling great about it. In the beginning, when it was just like people would ask me, oh, so how's it going? And I'm like, oh, I've been sweating more. My BO is existent now. I have acne. I've gained 10 pounds. Like, ask me in a few months how I'm enjoying it, because obviously I want these things to happen, but at the same time, it's like the beginning changes are ones that like you kind of have to suffer through in a way to get to the ones that come later. But now that like my voice has started dropping, and the downstairsness is like changing, and my chin hairs are coming in, which is, again, I wasn't expecting that. But I'm really pleased with everything. And considering if you've seen my intro video and you know how I identify gender-wise, I'm sort of trying like to monitor how I feel about everything, because it's not so much that I'm going for a female to male approach. I want to be perceived as male, but in terms of being comfortable in my body, I'm taking tea for my reasons for taking testosterone, for my own personal being comfortable in my skin type of reasons, is that I want to defeminize my body, and not necessarily like uber masculinize it. I just want to defeminize it, which is one of my main reasons for taking tea. So I'm closely monitoring my feelings on how everything is going, because I don't want things to happen that I can't take back, and I know that at any point, if I'm uncomfortable with it, I can just stop. So that's I'm keeping that in mind. A couple other things that I wanted to bring up in regards to this whole 7-week thing. Oh my gosh! But in terms of like just my general life, is just that I am starting to feel almost like a bit out of balance with my body, and I really want to be more in tune with it, especially during this time when it's changing how it is. So I'm trying to find ways and look into different ways to get a better mind and body balance, because I feel like my mind is on like one level and my body is on the other, and I want them more in equilibrium. I want to be more in tune with myself, so I'm looking into ways to change that. And one of the ways in which I'm looking into doing that is yoga. I have a gym membership, and I'm going to probably go to a couple classes just to see what I like and see how that goes. So hopefully that works out. I have that gym membership, so I can go to those classes. There's also a yoga place near where I live that has, they're pretty much like free classes once a week, and they just ask for a donation. So I might check that out too. Another awesome thing that has been happening over the past couple of days, because I've been back home visiting my family, and one of the awesome things that's happened here is that my mom has been introducing me as her son to maybe like 4 or 5 people so far, and it's just the reception has been great, and they're all people that I've never met before, and like I've never talked to them before, and she's like, oh, this is my son, Riley, and we've talked about it in terms of how I identify and stuff, and at first I was telling her, it's great, just telling people I'm your child, that works, I'm your kid, whatever, I'm your oldest, that's fine, and then it sort of got to the point where I was like, I know that like that's probably going to be confusing and whatever, so just call me your son, it's totally okay with me. So she's been doing that, and it's been great, and like I kind of get like a little bit of social dysphoria when it happens like in public or in lighting, and that is kind of awkward, but that's kind of like my own internal battle because I know I don't pass, and so I'm just like more so curious as to like what people are thinking in those situations when they see me and hear me being referred to one way, and then just um, that's just my own thing though. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about this time around. But I swear I'm going to try to make a video within the next 7 weeks so it's not a 7 week gap like it was the last time. But hopefully we'll see. Anyway, take care.